Uni SC Arena is where we start round 11 of Suncorp Super Netball. Also the start to First Nations round, or First Nations rounds over the next 2 weekends in all their artistic glory. Let's open with a welcome to country.
Hello and welcome. My name is Ezekiel Davis. I'm a traditional custodian from around the Malula Plains district. First off, I'd just like to say Wanya Nalam, Janangu, Kabi Janangu, Wanya Yinyerin Gun, Garin Ninanami, Jojomo, Birono Gai Mambunanga. Yo. Yeah, hello. As I said, my name is Ezekiel Davis there, traditional custodian from around Malulaba, Maroochydore, talking on behalf of my great-grandmother there. Her name was Susan Undy. She was born in Malulaba there, on the riverbanks in 1853. Yeah, a long time ago. I didn't get to meet her there. But she was born where there was no, houses, there was no roads. She was born in that kind of time. Yeah, so she's water birth, traditional water birth. But she was seen around Maroochydore, around these districts. She used to trade crabs, mud crabs, crayfish, all types of fish and seafood for white sugar and white flour, Not the best trade deal. It's a bit cheaper, that white sugar than the mud crabs. But, it was new to her. She thought it was pretty cool. But Malulaba in our language does talk about the red-bellied black snake too. That was our totem animal, an animal that, you wouldn't hurt or harm. You make sure you looked after him. Yeah, that red venomous fella, you want to look out for him, don't want to step on him. But, make sure he's got his habitat looked after and he's well looked after. But, that was our totem, our clan group there. But on behalf of the family, the Chile family from around Malulaba, I don't have much time here, but I'd like to say Wanya and thank you.
Zeke Davis, a proud Kabi man with his special welcome to country. A good time to mention the league artwork. Congratulations, Crystal Dallinger, and the great design that she has come up with on the ball, centre circle and more. And for the Lightning, Jerome Wano designing a special dress. There is Collingwood in a dress designed by Tani Jarvis. So First Nations round, really First Nations rounds, as I say. Good afternoon to Kira Trump, Maddie Brown with us in commentary. Kira, always a fantastic part of the season, the First Nations round.
Absolutely, Matt, and it's great to be here on the Sunshine Coast. Ezekiel had a lovely story there about his grandmother growing up in the Malulaba area, which is such a beautiful part of the world. And aren't we lucky to be able to celebrate and enjoy the great game of netball during such a fantastic weekend such as First Nations round.
And we look at a couple of teams on losing streaks, but there is so much on offer in this game in terms of storylines that we'll delve into as the contest unfolds. But let's have a look at the Woolworths team card. Firstly, Kira, starting with the Lightning.
Yeah, look, the Lightning have such a strong attacking end with their Diamonds pairing of Cara Conan and Steph Wood. A few nervous discussions about her ankle, but Cara is taking the court in her starting position of goal shooter. Defensively, I think that they've been very strong this year with Carla Pretorius and Dehaney, but it's that mid-court where they've struggled to find consistency.
Yeah, we held our breath when Cara went down last week against the Giants, was forced from the court, didn't return, but she's out there and not on minutes restrictions. The team card for Collingwood, thanks to Woolworths. Back to you, Kira.
Yeah, look, Nicole Richardson, a really tough week as a coach. I don't think anyone envies the position that she's found herself in, but they're starting with their familiar lineup. They've got a really strong attacking end, which hasn't been able to find form to start to go through this season, but tonight could be the night that they click. All 7 players playing for the one thing, which is their contracts and future.
Absolutely. The match ball has been delivered, centre pass with the home team. The Lightning hunting just their second home win of the season for another big crowd on the Sunshine Coast. Great to have you with us on Fox Netball as we head into round 11, a really special one for the league. Annie Miller at circle edge finds Conan with a bullet ball and first score to the home team.
A beautiful baseline drive there from Cara Conan will give her a lot of confidence. She started the last few games a little bit rocky, but she was able to find that baseline and up to the post and finish off. Strong take there from Shimona Nelson, likewise down the other end.
And Collingwood get the early equaliser. Yeah, back to Cara Conan as we look at the replay. Shimona Nelson her and Conan, second only to Janelle Fowler in terms of shooting percentages, second and third. So two really sharp shooters at opposite ends of the court in this one.
Yeah, been featuring heavily in the Harvey Norman replays this year. Those two shooters, they've been doing a wealth of work for their two teams.
So Collingwood on this 6-game losing streak. Winners in round 1 against the Swifts, round 4 against the Firebirds. And they come here hoping to take down the Lightning. Shimona Nelson with another goal. They went down by 15, though, in round 6 to Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, that was the Anzac Day clash, the inaugural one, and it was just a bit of a misfire from the Magpies as we see Cara Conan step there and give up the ball offside, actually, from, it looks to be maybe Sherry in there, maybe a contact. No, she wasn't out of play, so maybe an offside. So, yeah, I think the Magpies really didn't come to play that day back in round 6, and they'll be looking for a much improved performance this time around.
So here's an early chance for Collingwood. Sophie Garvin has had her shooting struggles this season, leaves that well short. It's collected, though, by Nelson, and all is well that ends well.
Really unlucky there, I thought, for Katie Ann Dehaney. She got a touch on that ball and then pulled it in, but it was given to Shimona Nelson there under the post.
And Molly Jovic with centre pass.
Just having some trouble there, Matt, getting it across the line for the Magpies. They had to go back to go forward.
Yeah, Jodie Ann Ward had no option. No opportunities presenting themselves. Nice ball from Molly Jovic. A rainbow pass finding the target in Shimona Nelson. 4-2 in favour of the Magpies. We'll get that score ticker fixed as soon as we can on screen. So a little bump here for Collingwood. Just what they needed after this week. We come here wondering what sort of toll the week had taken.
Yeah, absolutely. They started last week strong against the Swifts, so we see Steph Wood put up her first shot. They started very strongly last week, but just fell away and were outplayed in the second half by the Sydney Swifts. Whether or not today they can put together that 60-minute performance, but that won't help them in giving up the ball there to the Sunshine Coast Lightning.
Onto the ball hard, Mahalia Cassidy finding Annie Miller. Back for Sherry, and always busy. Providing great energy. The Lightning just yet to fall into the rhythm, aren't they?
That's right. Just looking a bit disjointed as it went down court there. I would have liked Annie Miller just to give Cara Conan that extra second before she looked to feed it around. Sometimes the shooters present on that third second, and you really need to have that good connection and eyesight on that shooter.
Pretorius for Steph Wood. Here's Miller on the move again. Where's the option? It's the long arms of Conan, who was trying to find a way to post. Goes back to Miller. In a good battle with Jiva Mentor is Conan, and the 3-second rule applies.
Steph Wood just closely marked there by Jodie Ann Ward, and the switch with Jiva Mentor meant they didn't have their playmaker in Steph Wood. Great touch there from Carla Pretorius, and they weren't able to find that connection and giving up that turnover on a held ball.
Nearly 4 minutes down. What are your observations, Maddie Brown?
Look, I'm quite interested to see how the both teams are going to and fro in this attack, and we just saw Sophie Garvin go a little bit sideways on a lead, so continue to run onto that ball if you've got Carla Pretorius right on you there. But for me, watch the Magpies defence. They're sinking back into a closed circle, obviously just allowing Steph Wood a bit of space out the front. We don't want to give them too much because we know how dominant she can be with the ball in hand.
Maddie, how are you assessing the depth in attack that the Magpies are getting down court?
Look, I think what they're working on is definitely Brown getting that first phase and Garvin getting a bit of depth on that second. I think that they can continue to work that and let the ball go and release. Obviously, Nelson needs to make sure Dehaney stays activated in the circle as well.
And Mads, we heard from Collingwood this week when that licence was taken from them or not going to be renewed. They said playing games right now seems inconceivable. You spoke to Ash Brazel and she said, hopefully we can find some energy. There are some good signs early though, aren't there, from the visitors?
Oh, it's great energy. They spoke about even watching them in the warm-up. They looked like they were having fun. There were smiles and they're playing with a bit of that freedom, just like that we saw in round 1 and 2 when they were so dominant. So hopefully they can continue that for the 60 minutes because we have seen them die off. They need to keep adding on. And I think Coach Richardson might turn to the bench for those extra impacts.
Pass from Miller put Conan under pressure. They turn it over. Yeah, Shimona Nelson shooting at 95% this season. She's 100% so far, 6 from 6. And as a result, Magpies playing with a nice buffer here.
Yeah, just really flat in the circle for the Sunshine Coast Lightning there. No angle for the feeders to be able to get the ball to Steph Wood and Cara Conan, and they just gave that one up. And it's been executed, which will make Nicole Richardson really happy from that gain to goal rate. They were able to secure that goal.
It's been a real problem for Collingwood. The gains to goal rate, just 56%. That means they're not cashing in on all the gains achieved by Jodie Ward, Jiva Mentor. Here's Nelson doing it again. It's one area that if they improve, they'll improve on the scoreboard, Kira.
Absolutely, Matt. They've got Jodie Ward, who is leading with Shamira Sterling as the most prolific interceptor in the competition, and not to be able to score from those has really hurt the Magpies this season.
Yeah, Ward and Mentor 3rd and 4th in the league for gains. So they're getting the gains, that is not converting. Can they do that today and take down the Lightning? A sound start. There's a long way to go in this one. Here's Kelsey Brown, home alone. It's Nelson. That's easy.
It looks as though those 50-50 balls are really falling in the favour of the Magpies at the moment. They're able to pull in the loose ball. They are usually quite, reactive when there is a loose ball. The Lightning are the least on the bottom of the ladder for pickups in the league at the moment. So they're second to those contests and not able to get to those loose balls on the ground.
So Lightning here. Sherian finding Conan, and that's a settler for the Lightning. But in this matchup, the Lightning dominate 10-3. And here, Collingwood have only had the one win. Maddie, when you were playing with Collingwood, was there something about coming to the Sunshine Coast that proved particularly difficult? They had a good team in your first few years.
Well, they did, but I think we took some of their best players in Jiva Mentor and Kelsey Brown. We brought them down and they showed us how to play up here. Obviously, as you mentioned, Lightning have a really good win rate up here against the Magpies, but I think Magpies are really earning on that emotion and playing on that kind of, you know what, we've got absolutely nothing to lose, so we might as well come out here, give our best shot and play with a bit of show.
Maddie, I know you have the #1 supporter of the Sunshine Coast Lightning sitting behind you with the cowbell. How are you feeling the impact of the crowd at the moment?
Well, they're actually quite quiet. I think there's only one man really yelling out, and that's in the back of my left ear. But that's okay, guys. I'll deal with that. I think, obviously, if the Magpies can get on top early, and they need to win this first 10 minutes, because we know how strong Lightning can be in this super shot, especially Steph Wood. So they really Magpies need to own this, maybe keep the crowd quiet, because if they start to lift, it's a really loud fortress in here.
I started the right way. Collingwood, as Wood again goes from range. The last shot dropped. She gets her own rebound here and can make good if Mentor doesn't deny. Jiva's been doing that for a long time. Called out a play, and Steph Wood won't miss from there.
A little touch on the back there, and we see in the Harvey Norman replay that Steph gets her own rebound there, just needing to block out and protect that rebound space to Magpies.
Garvin, cross court to Jovic. Nelson with Pretoria's trying to deny her. They can't get to the circle for the time being. There's a long pass, and the aerial battle won by Shimona. This is good from Collingwood when you consider what Lightning have done so far this season. Great starters, dominating their first and second quarters. They haven't had the wins they would have liked off the back of that, but a really good first half team, Kira.
Yeah, absolutely. The attack end has really come to play tonight. They're really showing space between the two defenders. They're separating those so Carla Pretorius and Katie Ann Dehaney can't work together. As we see a contact given up there from Mahalia Cassidy. Very smart work from Kelsey Brown. She knew she was going out of court. She created that contact and therefore kept the ball in the possession of the Magpies.
Just to put some numbers around that, in the first quarter, Sunshine Coast have only lost 3 first quarters. We're into round 11. They've only lost 3 second quarters.
Well, it's just unbelievable to me to be able to look at the stats and see that the Magpies are sitting at a 91% centre pass to goal rate, which is a huge improvement on the 68 that they've had for the average in the season.
Wood working in with her fellow Diamond. Nice from Conan, plenty of movement. She finds a way to post and finds a way to goal. 13-10 as we bear down on the Suncorp Super Shot period. The Power 5 about to be signalled.
A wonderful outside arm contest there from Carla Pretorius. She just didn't give up on that. She followed it through and got the throw in, and wonderful feed through there to Cara Conan.
Maddie, over to you.
Look, I was going to speak and say that there was obviously a real attacking focus for both teams. We'd only just seen one game from Mentor and one game from Pretorius in these final couple of minutes. So a real attacking focus and creative play for both teams. Defensively, I can't wait to see some of these defenders, because they've done a shutdown roll, start to fly for the ball and maybe get some hands on some gained possession.
There is the first Suncorp super shot of the afternoon. Another $100 to the Confident Girls Foundation, thanks to Suncorp.
Just feels as though the Sunshine Coast Lightning have lifted their defensive intensity as the Magpies go down court for Sophie Garvin's first super shot. Doesn't make the ring there, but a rebound from Shimona Nelson.
Only Soph's second shot of the game. She's missed both of them.
She's been playing outside the circle a fair bit, giving a lot of space to Shimona Nelson. But yes, the confidence isn't there at the moment for the post.
Sherian for Cassidy. Here's Wood and Conan looking to take the pass. Ward denies, but it's off Collingwood, so Sunny Coast keep the ball here.
A frustrated Jodie Ann Ward. She thought she was in front position. As we see Cara Conan take that beautiful feed away. It's pinpoint accuracy there.
Jodie Ann Ward back to her 2021 Collingwood best and fairest form. Great numbers in that defensive role this season. Garvin puts it on the floor for Kelsey Brown. Back to Sophie for another super shot. Sophie Garvin had the ball deflected. It falls for Nelson, and they'll settle for the one and a narrow lead.
Just a masterclass on a centre pass there from Kelsey Brown. She got in a running race with Mahalia Cassidy and just had the smarts to cut back to the line. As we see another tip there to Jiva Mentor, but followed up from Steph Wood as she's in super shot territory. Beautiful shot.
Another one from Steph Wood. 2 from 2 in terms of the super shot. It's been a feature of her game all season, and here's another win for the Lightning.
Whole time, it's footwork.
In fact, they're called for footwork, but latedly, like the crowd, I thought it was Sunshine Coast ball. Jovic.
So we see Sophie Garvin well outside the circle. She's acting as that third feeder, giving a lot of space there to Shimona Nelson. Magpies doing everything but getting it down court currently.
Garvin puts it in the air, finding Nelson over the top of Dehaney.
Centimetres in that from Katie Ann Dehaney. You can see she's a bit frustrated she wasn't able to pull that ball in.
Dehaney, another Jamaican, having a fantastic defensive season. Collingwood will be made to work for all their goals this afternoon.
Beautiful
Locked
intercept.
at 16.
Absolutely unbelievable read there by Ash Brazel. She had 2-on-1. She came off her player and had a crack at that ball. This is where the Magpies have had trouble. They haven't been able to penetrate throughout the season and reward their defenders with a goal. So this is a great test for the Magpies outfit.
It's Jovic for Nelson.
Magpies!
And Matt, it just seems like the feeds and the ease of scoring for Collingwood is more seamless than Sunshine Coast at the moment, where Collingwood's defence is giving the home team some headaches.
They absolutely are. Where you look down, obviously, I think the Lightning's defence there, what they did well in the last passage of play, it's a turnover there, obviously, from Garvin, is Lightning really shut down the middle channel and forced Magpies wide. In that transition, Kiri, you spoke about, someone coming up the middle. Magpies need to continue to have those multiple options. Defensively, Magpies are pushing high, wide and trying to separate and disconnect that attack end for the Lightning. They got some hand on ball last time. It's whether they can continue to put that consistent pressure on them.
Mads, from your angle down there on court, it looks to me as though Soph Garvin has had 4 clear air shots and has not managed to hit the ring. Are you seeing whether or not Katie Ann Dehaney is getting tips to that ball?
No, I think there's a really strong reach over it. For me, standing behind Sophie, it's her release of the ball. She's a little bit flat-footed, not getting quite up there. But what I do love is the fact that she's continuing to having to go. You know what I always think the super shot? Have a crack in the first, second and third quarters. Don't leave it to the end. See what you can do. Try and get your eye in. And then you can always have a great rebounder in Nelson there to pick up the loose balls.
30 seconds left in this first half. Garvin, one of 9 World Cup squad members across the country in this game. As Nelson is fed by Jovic and scores, and we'll speak to Stacey Marinkovich, the Diamonds coach, at half-time, who's casting an eye not only over her players, but some of her rival players in this game.
Gosh, she's busy, a busy lady, Stacey Marinkovich, and she'll be writing plenty of notes, I believe, on opposition teams. As we see Steph Wood in her sweet spot, unable to finish off that super shot as the hooter goes.
It would have been a big finish to the Lightning. They were looking to lock it up, but Steph Wood, after making a couple of bombs in the first quarter, misses the final one. We end the first period. Magpies
to USC. It's the quarter-time Origin Energy break. I was listening into the Magpies huddle. They spoke in attack about their really great vision, how they sided under the post Nelson really quickly and let the ball go and release. They did start to get a little bit wide, so they want to have that punch up the middle and they want to have multiple options defensively. Some things to watch out for the Magpies. If Steph Wood gets that second phase, they want Ward to be really accountable one-on-one and expect either Brown or Garvin to come down and flood and stop Sherion's entry into the transverse, into that goal third. So a real defensive focus, but great vision by the Magpies. Coach Richardson was very impressed with their start. They're leading by 2 goals.
The Lightning identified to their Maddie Brown that the Jodie Ward is very defensive and is really strong in her contest. Steph Wood going to umpires Tim Marshall and Nicole Bullen to seek clarification around whether or not she's getting any advantage when being contacted in the circle. So from the Lightning's point of view, they've identified that defensive one-on-one pressure that Steph Wood's under, and they're wanting to get the call, the contact call, rather than the advantage.
and Kira, they've made a change. The Lightning, Belinda Reynolds sending Ava Black out as a centre, Laura Sherian having a breather, and Ava, 19 years of age, just her 5th National League game. Proud product of Toowoomba. There's a very proud Queenslander. Big Petro, it's his time of year, 33 games with the Maroons. We'll speak with Petro later on in the game. An exciting time for all rugby league fans, as Soph Garvin looks to score the first goal of the second quarter and her first goal of the game. So there's a nice little confidence boost for the diamond shooter, Sophie Garvin.
As we see the introduction there of Ava Black into the centre for the Sunshine Coast Lightning, the great thing about Belinda Reynolds is she gives her players direct messaging. Ava Black will have a role to play. She'll have a specific amount of time that she's going to be on court, and she will know her job. I heard Belinda Reynolds say to Laura Sherian, stay on the bike and stay warm, so expect to see changes in the mid-court for the Sunshine Coast Lightning.
The visitors still in front by 2. Cara Conan with the Lightning's first goal of the second quarter, but she was undone by a couple of turnovers in the first quarter, Cara.
It's a great pickup after a tip from Katie Ann Dehaney. They've been awesome all season. Carla Pretorius was able to win that ball, but just giving it straight back to the Magpies, which would be so frustrating for coach Belinda Reynolds.
Yeah, Ash Brazel, who else? Part of this dynamic mid-court for the Magpies. Hasn't always achieved the result it wants, but on paper, when you look at Ash Brazel, Molly Jovic, Kelsey Brown, there's some fast feet and athleticism right there.
Far side.
Some frustration there from Carla Pretorius. She's giving some feedback there to Annie Miller. She just wanted her to come forward on her drive and not hesitate. Goes to the defensive pressure of Ash Brazel. As we can see another shot there from Cara Conan. Too many Ks in this team.
Maddie Brown, what do you think of the Lightning rotation?
Look, even before the game, we were speaking to Coach Belinda Reynolds, and she said, you know, finals are obviously out of contention for this side, but she needs to see what these players can do in different situations and scenarios. I think it's a great time to put on a player like Ava Black. It's close. There's still heat in the game. Let's see what she can provide rather than putting her on when maybe score lines are out or you're behind by a decent deficit. It's great to give these young players that experience to know what they really can do on this elite stage.
Yeah, Maddie, I completely agree. Belinda Reynolds has spoken a lot about, you know, getting her players being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And that's the situation the Lightning find themselves in right now.
It's become a sporting catch cry, hasn't it? Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And teams train for that in the pre-season with the hope of delivering in-game. So the Magpies by 2. They haven't been able to get away at any stage, but it's a promising start for a club that has had a really rough week for obvious reasons.
As we see there on the Harvey Norman replay, a great rejection there from Ava Black, just not going away, not getting the throw in.
Brown looking for Nelson and finding her. With the licence not being renewed, it is a slow death march, isn't it? 4 games to play, knowing that there will be no more at the end of this season in terms of Suncorp Super Netball 2024 and beyond. The big question was, how will the players perform? What toll has it taken? Well, good signs and credit the coaching of Nicole Richardson to
Absolutely.
get the team up and have them playing like this.
Devastating for this club and the supporters, the coaches and staff that work with the Collingwood Magpies. You build a brand and a culture when you start a sporting club, as we see Nicole Richardson there on screen. It would be hard work for them to find the motivation, but to their credit, they're leading this game by 4 goals and are playing really well.
I'll throw Kate Upton in there as well, and all the high-performance team there at Collingwood. There's Belinda Reynolds. Have called an HCF tactical timeout. The Magpies, 24-20 leaders.
Get around, like right in front. There's no little short ones because we want it in the air when you're in the mid-court because you're nice and tall. Step up, like, yeah, after you and Halsey, get that connection. You and Halsey. That connection straight away from you two first phase, and let's have clarity in who's stepping up to who. KD back in front, using the space, make the pass perfect. Yes, keep them off circle edge. So intent to step up, don't retract backwards. Good job in attack. Keep stepping up. Remember, possession is king. Yes, so we chip and open it up. You're on the line, and Halsey right to the line. So if we need a play back to go forward, really good. You keep using your split vision. Good job, guys.
These teams in 6th and 7th, both coaches saying we want to finish 5th. We can't make the finals, but we can finish as high as possible. And they don't want to finish in last position because that's where the Lightning were last season at 4 and 10. Collingwood is just the one spoon 2020, 1 and 13. Listening into the other huddle, Maddie Brown, what'd you hear?
Well, they were up and about the Magpies. Coach Richardson talked about the next 5 minutes is going to be crucial for them. She wants them to go really, really hard. Contest that first ball. Make sure that it maybe create that bit of a snowball effect, but make sure you're accountable and still grinding it out and choose when to take those flies. The other thing that she noted was obviously making sure that when it comes into the 5, they change their strategy. They know what they're doing, but she really wants them to put their foot down and push hard and try and build a bit of a lead.
Nicole Richardson's such a strategic coach, Maddie. She's unbelievable in her way that she can change and adapt her coaching style as the game progresses. Likewise, down the other end, Belinda Reynolds identifying that the defensive unit of the Lightning need to step up. They need to step up and dictate to their attacking players so that they're not getting that easy run down court.
Steph Wood goals. It sounded to me as if Nicole Richardson thinks this is a period where they can blow the game open.
Absolutely. They're, letting the 5-minute period, having those bursts of impact and making sure that you don't sit on a lead. You need to continue to create that scoreboard pressure is an area of the game that the Magpies haven't been able to, succeed in this season.
Sophie Garvin found her range now. Yeah, the Lightning 1 and 4 at home this season. They've had such a great record in this stadium. And the Magpies 0 and 5 on the road, so still hunting their first away victory. Miller,
Contact winning defense.
home team in possession. Miller holding the ball for a long time, just releasing in time to Conan. And Kara gets it done. In fact, while we mentioned Collingwood's away struggles, the home team has done everything to make them feel welcome, though, this week. Very cognizant of how difficult it's been for them, Kira.
Yes, we spoke with Belinda Reynolds prior to the match, and she led on that, having had 3 past Lightning players now playing in the Collingwood netball team, they've extended that, team camaraderie. Great intercept there from Molly Jovic, and they've invited...
And now back to Cassidy, who loses at courtside, but back to you.
They've invited the Magpies to join them on court for signing so that the locals can get to have that moment with the Magpies, and then their recovery will be done as a unit with both teams enjoying some time together and then having some dinner afterwards, which I think is a lovely, extension of the olive branch from the netball community in the Sunshine Coast Lightning and the Magpies really getting around them during such a difficult time.
Really nice touch. So competitive on the court, but coming together afterwards the way it should be as we look at Collingwood close in on yet another goal.
We see the introduction of Ash Irvine here in the goalkeeper position for the Sunshine Coast Lightning. Coach Belinda Reynolds obviously looking for a change there with Katie Antahaney going to the bench.
Yeah, Ash Irvine, another 19-year-old. So there's some young talent in this team being given court time at a significant time with game on the line early in the game.
As Maddie said, Coach Belinda Reynolds really
Contact,
looking
goal defence.
for what her players have got in the tank
step.
as we head into
Step
the
up one.
contract period for these players. Every player in the SSN off contract at the end of the season.
Steph Wood,
Magpies.
again from a long way out, finding the bottom of the net. Every goal important at the moment for Sunshine Coast as they look to keep pace with Collingwood. Garvin wins the grab for the ball alongside Pretorius. Goes to Nelson. And they go up by 1 again.
It's a scary prospect. Ash Brazel has come to play tonight. She worked so hard to get that centre pass. She wasn't going to let Annie Miller stop her. And her defensive pressure down that end is creating another pick-up there for the Magpies. And the down-court play from the Magpies tonight, as we see Ash Irvin unable to pick that up, has been magnificent.
Jovic long to Garvin to Nelson. It's 30-24.
As we see on the Harvey Norman replay, they're just a huge cross-court ball, but Soph Garvin able to protect the space.
Last week against the Swifts, Collingwood total only 56. They're more than halfway there with still 7.5 left in the second quarter. Far more productive for Collingwood. How do Lightning counter this? Conan and Wood. They'll need to be prominent, you'd imagine. And Miller goes over the top. It's contact called on Jiva Mentor.
Just a breakdown for the Sunshine Coast Lightning across the top of the circle. They're not able to connect with their wing attack in Annie Miller. She's being really well covered as we see a timeout called by the Magpies. Not able to connect there with their wing attack, which is really creating some problems for the Lightning's attack end.
So still 5 goals to the advantage to Nicole Richardson and her team. But she wants an HCF tactical timeout. We'll listen in.
From an attacking perspective, let's not put each other under pressure long into a corner, okay? So for the one before that, you went deep and then punched up was perfect. So that's what we're looking for. That last play down in the defence end, when Steph's hanging on the outside of the circle edge, what I want is whoever's hands over to ISO, I then want them to go to Steph, right? And then Jode, you're hovering to play, and Jiva, you're going to lock in Cara from behind. Jammer and Jode, you're playing on that line instead of worrying about Steph at the moment in that play. Okay, let's go, first 5. Our centre pass, okay, what are you doing? They all know? Yep, okay. The pin will work well. Sophie's holding well on that second phase.
I'm in control. This is tactical now, so implement what Richard's just said. Let's go. Let's go.
A really tactical timeout there called by Nicole Richardson. She is the queen of the tactical timeout, calling the most timeouts in the competition. Her team was able to take what she's given them as instructions and deliver that, looking for some corridors, making sure that they're delivering the ball to Soph Garvin up the middle. Maddie Brown was down the other end with Sunshine Coast Lightning. Coach Belinda Reynolds, what did you hear down there, Maddie?
Well, you can instantly see there's a change down the goal circle. We've seen Conan come to goal attack and Wood move back to goal shooter. Some of those feeds were a little bit light on and not quite getting to Conan. So they've tried that shift in that moving circle to see whether that up and punch from Wood can create something different for the Magpies defence. We also saw Pretorius speaking about coming down, rushing hands off, and even for the wing defence and centre to have a crack at maybe Garvin. Punching up the middle. So watch those defensive and attacking strategies from the Lightning.
Thank you, Maddie. For the time being, Collingwood in possession with Garvin. And she was left alone. Shimona Nelson, the defence, the communication broke down there.
Yeah, that drive from Molly Jovic into the pocket really dragged Ash Irvine out of the circle and left Shimona Nelson right at home alone under the post.
Just repeating, we'll speak with Diamonds coach Stacey Marinkovich at half-time. 9 players on court who hope to be part of the World Cup. For the Diamonds, Jamaica, England, South Africa. It's coming quickly. July 28 in Cape Town. 61 days away. There she is. Looks very relaxed. I guarantee you she's not that relaxed come July 28.
I think she caught a sight of herself on the big screen here and had a bit of a sit up there, Stacey Marinkovich. One area of the court which just is dead quiet at the moment is the defensive end of the Lightning. Between those 3 or 4 players, there's just not much communication happening. I think wing defence, Mahalia Cassidy can really start to talk to her defenders, get that communication going.
I was going to say, give us a Telstra player to watch in this Lightning defensive setup. It's Mahalia Cassidy. Let's see if she can disrupt Collingwood, who lead by 7.
They're
on
really
a 6-game losing streak.
got their own way at the moment, the Magpies. They're finding lots of space.
Make it 8. 5 minutes left in the half. Super shot, while they are delivering efficiently, they're the lowest taker of the super shot. Sunshine Coast.
Yes, they spent the first 6 rounds only putting up 6 super shots for those 6 entire rounds. So definitely were not, up to speed in terms of where the game's headed in the super shot time for sure.
They're 41 of 74 coming into this game at 55%. And they've made 2 of 3 today.
In the two, beside her, yes.
Steph Wood takes aim, hits the ring.
Goalkeeper.
It's a feature of Cara Conan's game, her rebounding. 7 last week.
Magpies!
Look at it again.
Harvey Norman replay, we see that physical contest again from the Magpies. They're all over the Sunshine Coast Lightning.
Chelsea Brown. Nice chest pass to Nelson. And is it Carla Pretorius to really step up in the second half? She was fantastic in round 6 when Sunshine Coast won by 15 against the Magpies. 120 Nissan net points. That was a career high. 10 gains for Carla.
Goal defence,
I think that sustained pressure defensively across the court for the Lightning has really dropped off, and they're not able to create that build of pressure that gives the turnovers down the end for Carla and for Ash. So a full court effort's needed from every one of the players on court for the Sunshine Coast Lightning defensively.
Laura Sherry, another real contributor in that game, but she's sitting in this second quarter. Ava Black getting court time. Garvin. Nelson again. I'll go over to Maddie Brown. We've nominated Mahalia Cassidy, Carla Pretorius. Which Lightning player do you want to put some heat on to really step up in the second half?
Well, we've spoken about Pretorius being the Telstra player to watch, and she's only sitting on 1 game there. So for me, it's about that circle down the end in the attack. They've got 2 young, inexperienced middies in wing attack and centre, obviously Miller and Black. So Wood coming to play a little bit more. But what I am impressed on the Magpies side is Sophie Garbett. We've talked about her contribution. She's hitting the scoreboard in the stats, whether it's the feeds, the centre pass, the second phase. Great job from her today, so well done, Sophie Garbett.
A huge turnaround, Maddie, for Soph Garbett, having given away the most general play turnovers in the league. She's only sitting on 1 today, so a really concerted effort to be secure with the ball from Sophie.
Shimona Nelson scoring at the post after Steph Wood delivered another Suncorp super shot. Another $100 to the Confident Girls Foundation. Thank you, Suncorp.
Sunshine Coast Lightning just struggling with their second phase. They weren't able to hit up Steph Wood there. They've done their homework, the Magpies. Jodie Ann Ward sunk back. As we see Steph Wood go to post and finish there with a shot, bringing that lead back only now to 6 for the Magpies.
She's 4 of 6 in the Power 5 time periods, and as a result, you've got an HCF tactical timeout called by Collingwood.
We can just control the tempo of the game. Yeah, let's take the momentum out of their hand by not allowing them to have ball in hand. Okay, so work it. We still need to score, right? But we work it there. Defensively, get to Steph. So Minnie's on the outside. Minnie's on our goal shooter. Yeah. As soon as let Cara go. Let Cara go. As soon as Steph comes out on extension, leave yours, and I want you to smother her. Because it doesn't matter if yours goes back and forth.
Or should we send Jodie back? So it's 2v Steph.
Yeah, well, you can do that as well. Either way, but it's when she comes out. I still want extension and a contest on that ball. Yeah? Yep.
We're going in 45 seconds, so that's back first. Back first. Let's go. Here we go.
Let's go!
Collingwood's defensive unit was doing such a good job, but Steph Wood is starting to deliver this season. She's nailing the super shots at 57%. Today, she's at 67%. 4 of 6 so far. That was why Nicole Richardson called the tactical timeout. Kira Trump, what did you make of it?
Yeah, look, they've identified how much of an impact Steph Wood has for her Sunshine Coast Lightning team. She's that connection. She comes out of the circle and she's on the second phase. So Nicole Richardson has asked for all players to make sure they smother that lead and cut Steph Wood out of the game.
Steph Wood playing her 100th Suncorp Super Netball game, her 125th National League game, but a little milestone, 100 Suncorp Super Netball, as is Jiva Mentor at the other end of the floor.
Much better defensive effort here from the Sunshine Coast Lightning. We'll get down to Maddie to have a listen to what they heard during that huddle, but I bet it was something to do with the defensive intensity because they've really lifted. Maddie, what did you hear?
It absolutely was about having accountability for your own, making sure you're wearing them nice and tight, and you see that real tight one-on-one pressure, hands over every single pass. To me, it looks a little bit like the Magpies are just trying to deny a little bit of the time off the clock, play it around. But watch the positional spots with Conan and Wood. They're hoping to isolate Wood in that two-point area so she can have a crack at a few more two-point shots.
Kelsey Brown finding Shimona Nelson before we get too far away from the milestone chat. That play started by Molly Jovic, her 50th National League game. And I might go back to Maddie Brown because you know how popular Molly Jovic is in this Collingwood lineup, don't you, Mads? Get to Mads in a moment as we look at Cara Conan.
Sorry, I couldn't.
Fed and score for Lightning, 38-32, inside the final minute of the half. Jovic to Brazel. Ash in her final season of professional netball, announcing her retirement before the big news this week that the licence wouldn't be uptaken.
If there's one player that's dealing with that news better than anyone, it's probably Ash, and that she had the foresight to announce her retirement early. And although disappointing for the club, she knows where she's headed next year, unlike the other players in that fold. So she'll be there to support her teammates as a captain, vice captain of this club, and there since the inception. So a huge part of that club and the fabric.
Brown to Garvin to Nelson. They work their way to posts and they work their way back to this 9-point lead. There won't be time for a resumption. What a first half from the visitors. After quite the chaotic week, we didn't know what we'd get from them. First game off, a heavy loss indeed. A turbulent time during the week in between, and they've come here and they've delivered. Collingwood lead Sunshine Coast 39-32. So the Magpies with plenty of contributors, and Maddie Brown is standing by with one of them.
I am. I'm here with Molly Jovic. 50 games, Molly. Let's start with that. Must be a nice little milestone for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I probably thought it wasn't going to happen, but we're here, so yeah, pretty happy with that.
And the first half, you've obviously put on a really good score. What are you putting it down to in attack?
Honestly, I think the girls, we have nothing left to lose, and we came out there and we know we're capable, and I'm so proud of everyone. Yeah, it's really working at the moment, so hopefully we can carry that into the second half.
And how are you going to keep that energy? It looks like you guys are having lots of fun out there, but sometimes you can die off. How do you keep that energy and focus for the second half?
Yeah, I think the chat's really good at the moment, so if we keep carrying that into the second half, getting around each other, yeah.
Have some smiles and enjoy these 51.
Thanks, Mads.
Well, the Magpies take a 2-goal lead from quarter time and turn it into a 7-goal lead as we head into halftime. Stay with us here on Fox Netball because we are going to be joined by Stacey Marinkovich. Of course, she is the Australian Diamonds coach. We're going to ask her what she's thinking about what she's saying about this game. And then a little later, we are heading to Adelaide where Tipper Dwan and Hannah Petty are returning for the Thunderbirds. But breaking news for the West Coast Fever, Verity Simmons is out with COVID. Jordan Kranzberg is her replacement. Collingwood arrived at USC Stadium. They say they're exhausted. They had no idea how they were going to get through the next 4 weeks, let alone tonight. But they have brought the energy and the intensity and take a 7-goal lead over the Sunshine Coast Lightning into halftime. They lead 39-32 in what is our opening match of First Nations round here on Fox Netball. Kira Trump, Madison Brown, and we are joined by the Australian Diamonds coach, Stacey Marinkovich. Yes, we're here watching Suncorp Super Netball, but as World Cup team selections are looming, South Africa is never far from our minds. So you've made the choice to come to USC. Are you happy about the Diamonds that you're watching today?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we're still looking at the entire league as we always do with spots in our squad still open. But, to be able to see the calibre and you see the international matchups out there, it's just seeing the little intricate things that we've had some feedback around and seeing what they're doing out on the court.
Stacey, you talk about the international matchups. How much time and attention do you pay to your opposition players that you've got out on court here tonight?
Well, I went to New Zealand a couple of weeks ago just to get an understanding of where their game's evolved and where their players are sitting. So just, I guess you do lift your vision to further outside, but in all honesty, we've got to look after our own backyard and make sure that we're doing all the things that we need to do. So more emphasis is really on us, but we do lift our vision.
And you talk about, obviously, you know, our homegrown talent and, you know, big news this week in the league. How are you guys supporting the squad? Because it's not just affecting the Magpies, it's affecting every single player in the league, and you've got a big tournament coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've had some really regular contact with our Diamonds group, and not only is it players, it's Nick Richardson in the coaching as well. So we've got to make sure that we put our arms around them and enable them to do what they love to do, which is play the game. And you know, you couldn't be more proud of what the girls have done by stepping out on court today and putting out that first half.
Stacey, if we bring your attention to tonight's game, in that debut coach or coach of in her first season, Belinda Reynolds, how have you seen her introduction into the SSN? You must be proud having been part of her development as a coach.
Yeah, I think she's doing a great job. She's got some talent. She certainly had some road bumps with injuries and people retiring and all of that type of thing with the group, but I think they're playing a really strong brand of netball. I think it's a really happy and united group out there, and you can definitely see her style coming through. So it'll take a bit of time, but I think she's really taking the reins and doing a good job.
And you talk about those coaches that, you know, the finals are already, top four is already secured. What as a coach would you be looking for? She spoke about rotating and seeing how players go in these moments, but as a coach, put your coaching hat on, what do you reckon they're trying to finish off this season?
I think you're still trying to reward players for their performances, but I think she does have some great youth in her group, and you've got to get an understanding of where they actually sit, and the best place for that is actually out on court, and they're doing the things in the training environment, and if she's pleased with that, then she'll certainly back them in.
Stace, have you had any contact with Nicole Richardson, your assistant for the Diamonds, in the last couple of weeks to check in on how she's handling what's been?
We probably talk quite a bit, to be honest.
Yes.
I guess it's we have discussions about Diamonds.
Sure.
We're great mates as well, and yeah, obviously just reaching out, seeing what she needs to be able to do her job, you know, provide that support, but you know, it's been an emotional roller coaster. SSN is a massive job in itself, let alone with everything else that goes on, and you know, she's doing a good job too.
Stacey, what does the next 2 or 3 weeks look like for you as the Australian Diamonds coach? Where are you going to be and what are you doing?
Yeah, I think for me, it's actually looking at, you know, now we know the top four. I can knock out a couple of other plans and say I'm going to start accessing these players at this date. Start that communication and rollout, but certainly I'll still get to some games and, you know, be able to see where we've just got to continue to target when we come in.
And when is the announcement coming, obviously, of our squad of 15?
Yeah, in a couple of weeks, so still got a couple more to go, but yeah, we're getting close, but it's giving me a headache at the same time.
Stacey, we have 4 Diamond squad members in this game today, 3 of which are goalers. I'd love to know your thoughts on how the likes of Sophie Garbin's going, Cara Conan and Steph Wood as well.
Yeah, I think I get asked a lot about Sophie and the position that she plays, and there's attributes that we know that she took from the goal attack and brought it into her goal shooting game in the Diamonds environment, and we've got to put everything into context, and even the shooters at Lightning, they would still play a little bit different with us given different mid-court around them. So you see their skill set, but then you've got to see what we do a little bit different.
When you're sitting here watching games like this, Stace, is there a part of you that is barracking for one team or the other? Like, you have to say that obviously the soft spot for the Magpies tonight, I think everybody's willing them on for a win.
Yeah, but I worked with Belinda for 4 years, so yeah, I try and come in neutral colours to go, I'm not going for anyone, but I just want good games of netball, and however it ends up.
When you think about the headspace of the players that are going into Diamonds camp, well, let's talk about the Magpies, given the couple of weeks that they've had. What tools do you have in your toolkit to get them prepared for a World Cup when there's just been a mess happening behind the scenes at Clubland?
I think when they come into Diamonds, they have such a connection with the other players around them, and they've all been reaching out to each other in that time. So I think it'll actually be a smoother transition than what we think. It's more the emotion and replenishing the energy that's been spent outside of just being on court. So we've got to get that well-being balance. But as soon as they come into the environment, they actually get really excited. It's fun. We try and balance the program so that they can enjoy each other's company as well, because it's not only how they play, but the experience we create.
Stacey Marinkovich, thank you so much for joining us on Game Day on Fox Netball. Good luck with the rest of the season and your team selections. We're looking forward to seeing who is on the plane to South Africa.
Thanks.
Stay with us here on Fox Netball. We would love to know why netball is important to you and what the game means to you. It is all thanks to Suncorp. They'd like you to submit your entry in 50 words or less, along with a video or image of you in your club to foxsports.com.au/Suncorp, or you can, for your chance to win a family membership to the Suncorp Super Netball Club of your choice for the 2024 season. We are loving the entries that we've seen so far, but stay with us here, live and exclusive, Game Day on Fox Netball. The Magpies have a 7-goal lead over the Sunshine Coast Lightning. The second half is coming up next.
Halfway through Game 1, Round 11 of Suncorp Super Netball, the start of First Nation round, which will extend over 2 rounds, in fact. Great to see the artwork on show, centre circle and on the ball. Collingwood have come and played well. Their biggest lead in the first half, 9 goals. They're up by 7 as we go into the third quarter, and it's the home team with the first possession and desperate to have a goal at the end of it and just settle some wobbles for the Lightning that they had to deal with in that first half. But very impressed with her team's performance, no doubt, is Nicole Richardson. Nicole, your centre pass and gain to goal rates way up on your season averages. What's worked in that regard?
I just think we've been smarter with ball in hand and executing. You know, it's a simple game plan. Not quite like that. But just making sure we see all options, we sight the defender and then punching forward.
Nick, you've spoken a lot about having your players stay connected on court, and for mine, it's really been noticeable tonight that they're all playing their role. How have you seen that?
Yeah, look, I've been very happy with what they've been doing. At the end of the day, we need to be accountable for our own player. We have a bit of ball player mate focus, so we can still come off and they've got the licence to fly, but first job is to shut down their immediate opponent.
How satisfying is it for you as a head coach to see your opposition coach have to make so many changes to try and find that invisible sort of connection that they're missing at the moment?
Yeah, look, it's good to see that, you know, but like I said earlier, you know, we've still got a long way to go in this game, and we still need to make sure we get the job done. They've started it quite strongly this quarter, so we need to get back on task.
As Cara Conan scores, we'll let you get onto the task of coaching this team. You've done it magnificently so far. Thank you, Nicole Richardson, giving us some time here to start the third quarter. When we spoke just off air, she described the pride she feels on the performance so far, underlining there's much work still to do as they coughed up there a turnover. And here's a chance for the Lightning to build a bit of momentum early in the third. They need to be careful, Collingwood. A good start, but there's a lot of work still to do, Kira.
Absolutely, Matt. There's a challenge for the Magpies here is to be able to be consistent throughout the 60 minutes. We saw 20 minutes of hard work against the Swifts, but they were outplayed in the second half. It's a problem for the Magpies having the blips in concentration and the intensity on court.
Sherian sat the second quarter back out there in the third, and Steph Wood, 52 Nissan net points in the first half, if that's your thing. If she continues at that rate, she's right on track for a career high Nissan net points, which she achieved earlier this season, and they've forced another error from Collingwood here. You saw Steph Wood slap her hands.
They're the ones, Matt, that they really need to consolidate the Magpies. They'd beaten the Lightning. They had Steph Wood so frustrated, and then to give the ball straight back obviously gives that Lightning the ability to have the scoreboard pressure as the goals come back only down by 3.
And Shimona Nelson, she led the game for Nissan net points at half-time. 35 of 36 shooting before that early miss a moment ago. 3 rebounds, a deflection as well. And here's Cara Conan at the other end.
A huge lift from the Sunshine Coast Lightning. For mine, Laura Sherian needs to be on the court for the Sunshine Coast Lightning for them to win. The work rate from her is unbelievable, and she never gives up.
Nelson, hands over, and the contact is called. Goal comes anyway.
You see a time being called here by Ash Brazel, trying to arrest the momentum back into the favour of the Magpies.
So an early HCF tactical timeout. Nicole Richardson very happy with the first half, but they haven't come out of the sheds or out of the rooms as they would have liked.
Let's listen in here. It'll be interesting to hear her take.
Game starts in 90 seconds.
Okay, refresh, restart, go back to what was working in that first half, yeah? Options to the ball, get the ball speed happening, yeah? Get the ball speed moving. Make sure we've got second phase. Molly's either receiving it straight away or you're getting down and getting depth as a decoy lead and going hard. And then the two of you look to connect. Keep working up on the line, so one up and maybe one back. Work hard to get through that. If not, it's going back door. Then we link to you, maybe on a pin, a front pin, keep it right on the back of you. Doesn't need to go straight to shimmy. If it's there, it's there. If not, Kels, you're coming off that first and you're hitting the connection there and in, okay?
Calm and collected, get the timing right, let the ball go on attack. Indeed, let's connect together, look at those little give and goes. Let's go. Look it! Reball! Let's go, girl.
Sunshine Coast have had their biggest run of the game, 5 goals early in this third quarter. That's why Nicole Richardson called the timeout. That 7-goal advantage at halftime is back to 3. Maddie Brown, what did you hear in that timeout?
Well, the Lightning were up and about, really happy with how they've started this third quarter. To me, it's that experience in that attack end. As you mentioned, Kira, having Sherian in that wing attack position, really creating some play and allowing Steph Wood to dominate as well. The other thing that was spoken about in defence was from Carla Pretorius was shutting down second phase of the Magpies. So expect them to angle and force them back up the court rather than allowing them that depth.
Maddie, we heard Nick Richardson talk about the ball speed and she thought that had fallen away from the Magpies. How have you seen that in the start of this third quarter?
Yeah, I think it's been a bit stagnant on those leads and those timings. You've got to have that pulley system go, get some width, get some depth. I like to see Brown getting the centre pass on the first phase and Garvin on the second. I think they started to shift around with it, but I love to see Garvin on that second ball.
Irvin frustrates Nelson out of the shot. That Harvey Norman replay a moment ago showed a beautiful pass from Mahalia Cassidy to Cara Conan to score, and they've come out firing the Lightning in this third quarter. Cassidy again at circle edge, this time working in with Wood. Sherian.
Magpies just giving Steph Wood a lot more space to start this third quarter. She's been getting a lot more ball without that consistent defensive work over her body as you see her go to post there.
Back within 1 and with centre pass.
Really impressive fight back here from the Sunshine Coast Lightning. An easy centre pass there from Laura Sherian as we see her involved in a double, triple play, quadruple play there from Laura Sherian. She's their attacking maestro.
Wood to lock it up and finding the mark. It's 41 all. They've taken 4.5 minutes to bridge a 7-point deficit. What a start to the third quarter.
What did Belinda Reynolds say during that halftime break, Maddie? Get these girls firing.
We'll get Inspector Brown on the case to inquire as to what Belinda Reynolds did at halftime. Whatever they drank at the break, I want some of it. It's worked for them. And the work of 19-year-old Ashley Irvin. Garvin gets it to go eventually, but the battle between Irvin and Nelson is worth watching right now. The 19-year-old against the 24-year-old.
Beautiful work there from Steph Wood. As you see her chat with the umpire there, she felt she got that hit from behind, but just her body movement and her ability to be able to create space. She's owning the circle to start this third quarter, that's for sure.
Jodie Ann Ward laughs it off. Deep down, she's hurting, and after better next time, the ball comes up that end of the floor. Jovic for Kelsey Brown.
As we see the Lightning there, just letting Kelsey Brown go and doubling up on Soph Garvin. Whether or not that pays dividends, we'll see.
Jovic to Nelson. And Nelson is there, a good settling possession for Collingwood. Having had the opposition come at them hard in the third quarter. Cassidy to Conan, over the top of Mentor.
Mahalia Cassidy's had a fantastic start to this third quarter. She's really brought some energy and some momentum. She's moving the ball quickly down court, and she's really getting that intensity lifted in defence. Ball flies out of court there from Soph Garvin. It'd be remiss for me not to mention that she does give away the most turnovers in the competition, and that's one area of her game which I thought in the first half she really improved on.
Mahalia Cassidy for the game, 7 feeds for 6 goal assists.
See Jodie Ann Ward on the floor again over there. Just not able to get her defensive hassle happening. And Cara Conan goes to post as we see the Lightning go ahead for the first time.
The Lightning in front, Maddie Brown.
And the Lightning bench are up and about, and this crowd is coming into play. You see their players standing up, getting amongst, playing every ball with those out on court, compared to the Magpies to the left, quite quiet, sitting down. They need to generate some of that energy and excitement in their team to push them out of this. I'd love to see in attack for the Magpies more options. They were so patient in that first half, going short, then looking long, rather than just lobbing it in and hoping that Shimona Nelson can take those big ones.
Brown, let's see if they follow that advice, Maddie, as Garvin goes to, well, the shot's deflected by Irvin, or the pass, and it's a win for the Lightning, who come up with possession. Conan shooting at 100%, 21 from 21. When they were big winners against the Pies in round 6, she dropped 39 of 40.
Beautiful swing to the top of the circle there from Laura Sherry, and just opened up the angle.
Mentor forcing Wood to work back in with Cherian, but Steph repositions and scores again. It's 12-4 in the third quarter to Sunshine Coast. They lost the opening 2 quarters, 19-17, 20-15, but they're out by 8 in this third period. Make it 9.
Contact, wing defence.
We see the change there with Kelly Singleton coming on and Soph Garvin going to the bench as we come closer to the super shot time.
Beside the goalkeeper.
Yeah, even though they were well beaten last week, Kelly Singleton did show some real form in that 2-point arc.
She's been very good at the game against Adelaide the week before, was able to shoot the lights out during the super shot period in the last quarter. Great feed down the middle there to Cara Conan.
So Garvin watching from the bench as Wood scores again. Steph Wood, 17 of 21 shooting, including, of course, 4 of 6.
Wonderful hands over there from Ava Black. She just brings in a little bit of extra height for the Sunshine Coast Lightning, and I think that change has made a huge difference, just to slowing the feed down as we see another touch.
And again, it's Irvin. She has made the third quarter her own.
As we see on the Harvey Norman replay there, just the feed was not pinpoint, and she was able to get up and get the touch, which is fantastic work from the Sunshine Coast Lightning.
Cassidy goes for the cross-court pass, goes back to Conan.
Really smart there from Cara Conan. She was able to just slow down. She didn't want to get herself too far away from the post.
Into the Power 5 we go in the third quarter. The Lightning by 3. If you've joined us in this third quarter, they trailed by 7 at half-time. A 10-point turnaround.
Really strong there from Mahalia Cassidy. She's made a huge difference stepping into the centre. She's very calm with the ball in hand. She uses it well.
So Wood, I'll just correct that earlier stat. She's 21 of 27 shooting, which includes the 4 of 6 2-pointers.
Is there a timeout called again?
Because the Lightning are up 48-44. Belinda Reynolds, whatever she did at half-time, what a result. We might listen in to the home coach.
All right, great job. Great intent there on our attack and our defence. All righty? So here they want to slow the game down, but I want us in and amongst the short balls so they can't chip around, all righty? We are just concentrating on our skill, executing our skill really well. In the 2-point zone, I want you to attack the 2-point area to take some relief up here. I want you to post up as if you're going to shoot. It's your decision to shoot. Yes? If you feel it, shoot it. Alrighty? I want us to go out and attack a couple of ones, and then I want you to feel it and go for it. Okay? Yep. Defensively, we need discipline. So Ava, Halsey, discipline, but in that short ball contest here, make sure we're front as well. Get right around front, no penalties, okay? And block out for rebounds. Block out for rebounds. Ash? Block out for rebounds. Let's go. That's fine.
There we go. That's fine. Guys, we push out from this.
Let's go.
Steph Wood leads the Nissan net points. Then there are 3 Magpies. Jovic, Nelson Brown, Carla Pretorius in that top 5 as well. You've been listening into Sunshine Coast Lightning. Maddie Brown, what was happening at the Pies?
Well, Coach Richardson was just like, why have we gone away from what we were doing so well in the first half? We were working the ball short. You can see them being a bit more patient, the Magpies, now in the attack. But they were trying to force feeds that were just not an option. Also watch Nelson. If she goes over and they're not used, they'd love to see her pop forward, provide that different type of option rather than always being high on the backspace, because Irving has been snatching some of those in.
Maddie, do you think that the Magpies have gone away from what was working well, or the Lightning have simply just lifted?
Well, I think the Lightning have definitely lifted. I reckon this is one of their strongest lineups that they've put on, obviously, in this third quarter. But the Magpies are a bit stationary in their feet. They're just reacting rather than being proactive in attack and defence.
Sherian copying some rough treatment there. 48-44. The Lightning 16-5 leaders of this third quarter. Ash Brazel there to make life difficult. And then Laura stumbles on the Harvey Norman replay. And there's the score breakdown. What a third period it has been. Black wins the jump over Kelsey Brown.
Smart there by Ava Black. She drew that obstruction, didn't force it, and therefore the player was opened up as we see Cara Conan dominate that baseline again.
Straight after we're done here, we're off to South Australia. Thunderbirds Fever, it's first against third, but if the Fever win, they go first. Kath Cox, Caitlin Bassett, Emily Beaton to bring you that one. What a beauty.
What a game that will be in terms of Adelaide wanting to get some redemption from their performance last week against the Vixens. They'll be out to really, make a score and get another win on the board against the Fever.
They do get a couple of big inclusions. That might help. We've still got a long way to go here. Annie Miller, a starter, but she's watching for the time being. So the Lightning by 6. Jovic for Brazel.
Wing defence.
Last weekend for the Magpies, it was the second quarter that was their problem. Outscored 26-11. They're looking at something similar, maybe worse, in the third quarter here. Shimona Nelson. Every goal important for Collingwood in this period now.
That defensive pressure's really fallen away on the centre pass there for the Magpies. Laura Sherian's able to get plenty of time as we see Jiva Mentor pick up a pretty telegraphed cross-court ball there from Mahalia Cassidy.
Optimistic, wasn't it? She was looking for Sherian, but Mentor is too good to let that opportunity pass.
As we see on the Harvey Norman replay there, just hung in the air for a long time.
Wing defence contact.
So Collingwood keep possession here. Black called out of play.
Advantage obstruction centre.
Kelsey Brown, the bounce pass to Jovic, over to Nelson. And that's better for Collingwood, but they need more energy. The energy they started the game with has shifted to Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, the momentum's definitely with the Sunshine Coast, but the scoreboard still has them only down by 4. So their ability to be able to keep themselves in the game, the swings of momentum will come back their way.
Wing defence contact.
See a contact there from Ava Black, slowing down the play for the Magpies.
After Sherian did the same to Ash Brazel. There's a goal at the end of it for Collingwood. Back to 3, the difference. A minute left in the third quarter. The last 3 goals, you see the run there after 5 straight to the Lightning. Now a little run of 3 to Collingwood. Can they stop Steph Wood here? No, they can't. The crowd likes it. Another super shot from Steph. She is super this afternoon.
So impressive from Steph Wood. The physical pressure that she was under, even before she received that ball, was huge. And to be able to go to the post on a super shot, she's big time, Steph Wood.
Now making 5 of her 7 two-pointers. Steph Wood.
Butters moving off.
Nelson. For 2 of her own, and she has it rattled through. Doesn't take a lot of super shots, Shimona Nelson.
Some frustration coming across the face of Ash Brazel there. She just can't get the wood over Laura Sherian on that centre pass. She's stuck in a running race against probably one of the fastest, quickest little players in the league at the moment.
So we reach the end of the third. Shimona Nelson now 5 of 8 Suncorp super shots for the season. They needed that one, and it's still very much game on. 1 quarter to play on the Sunshine Coast, and then we're off to Netball South Australia Stadium. We get to see the Thunderbirds in first, try and stay there against the Fever. The Thunderbirds with a couple of players back. Verity Simmons out for the Fever, so a setback on that front. It's all to unfold on Fox Netball straight after this one.
Fox Netball is at USC Stadium, the home of the Kabi people, and that is Lyndon Davis doing a beautiful ceremony. This is the Origin Energy quarter time break, and I am courtside and I have found an NRL legend who is in the house. Petro Sivanasiva, it is wonderful to see you tonight. You are here as a Deadly Choices ambassador as we are celebrating in Suncorp Super Netball First Nations round. Such a great and special time.
It is amazing. It's a wonderful partnership with Deadly Choices and the Sunshine Coast Lightning, and it's wonderful to be here. What an occasion.
Now, you are connected to netball in more ways than one. Can you share with us some stories?
Yeah, well, I'm a netty dad, and I also played a lot of mixed netball. Our Broncos staff actually had a mixed netball side, which I played in. So as a goal shooter, I make a good front rower, I think.
Goal shooter, okay. Kath Cox, are you listening? Of course, 33 games for the Maroons when we talk about State of Origin. Game 1 in Adelaide coming our way this Wednesday. Are you heading there?
Yes, I will be, yeah. Working with the NRL, so I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a wonderful Game 1, and, it's exciting to bring State of Origin to Adelaide.
Petro, lovely to see you. Go Queensland.
Thank you. Go Queensland.
Thank you, Hannah. What a legend of rugby league Petro Sivanasiva is, and doing great work, even in retirement, as part of that Deadly Choices Foundation. Good on you, Petro. 33 Origins, as Hannah mentioned, and next week the Interstate Series bursts into life again. Well, Collingwood needs some life here after a flat third quarter that saw them beaten that period 20-10. Shimona Nelson is feeling all right in the fourth.
A good start there for the Magpies after having a really slow start in the third quarter.
Cassidy for Black, back to Sherian.
Possession centre. Possession centre.
And possession called with Cassidy.
Possession. Advantage obstruction, wing defence. Contact, goalkeeper. Yes, the side. Which ball?
And Conan answers.
Conan's really stepped up after having a really slow first quarter. She's been able to get herself in the game and been really strong. Probably had the better of Ajiba Mentor in this second half, I'd say.
All the super shots taken by Steph Wood, and efficiently so, 5 of 8. Cara Conan at post. Very accurate. And you're right, the second and third quarters from Cara, fantastic. And now Nelson at the other end. Great to have Kira Trump. Maddie Brown, more than 250 National League games between them, beside me, and analysing this one and analysing how Collingwood can continue the promise they showed in the first quarter, Kira. How do they get back to what they did in that first half?
Yeah, the consistency just hasn't been there for the Magpies, and I think across the season we've identified that at any given time all 7 players haven't been able to execute their role or their job at the same time. They have 1 or 2 players playing well and then a few passengers. So the first half we saw all 7 of the Magpies players playing with freedom and really, using the ball well. But that third quarter, they just had a bit of flatness coming out of the half-time.
Yeah, Nicole Richardson, Cade Upton, plotting and planning. Maddie Brown, we saw the Lightning start the third quarter with the best energy of the game from either team. How do Collingwood do that now?
Look, I think they've got to go back to what they were at the start, and that was having some fun, playing with the shackles kind of released off them, playing with that freedom, just seeing it, sighting it, letting it go in attack. In defence, they really need to go back to that one-on-one. Be accountable for your player, grind them down, and when the opportunity arises, then start to release and fly for ball. I think they're a little bit too far off it at the moment and not building that pressure on the Lightning attack.
Maddie, if you had to pick a player on court to be able to turn that around, or a barometer as such for the Magpies, which player is it that needs to lift?
Well, I mean, it's hard, but I do think it comes down to Brazel and Brown. They're the energy lifters on that transverse line for that link between the attack and defence. I'd love to see the ball more in Kelsey Brown's hands. Sometimes she's there, but they're just bypassing her, and the defence on the Lightning is doing well in trying to shut her down. But find ways to get the ball in your best ball carrier's hands so she can create and dominate from there.
Jovic looking for Singleton, but Pretorius gets in the way. A win for Sunshine Coast on that play. Black has it, working in with Irvin and Pretorius. Plenty of ball movement here from the Lightning.
She's so light on her feet, Carla Pretorius. Glorious Pretorius she was in that play. She just got around her player. 1 minute she's there, and the next second, well, 1 second she's not, and then she just pops right into the space so cleanly.
One of the favourites for this big crowd, as is Steph Wood. Maybe she's top of the pops this afternoon, given her shooting.
As we see there on the Harvey Norman replay, she just gets around the outside of Kelly Singleton and just was able to pick up that ball.
We start National Reconciliation Week across the country, and First Nations round in Suncorp Super Netball, which extends on round 11 into round 12 next week. There's some of the artwork. Gather as one, the slogan for First Nations rounds. And we'll give the artists behind the dresses. Sunshine Coast, Jerome Wano, Collingwood, Tani Jarvis, another mention as well. Great work, always a feature of these special games. Garvin gets her own rebounds.
Yeah, it's beautiful the way they weave the stories into the designs that go into these dresses, and that, you know, the depth in the thought that goes into it is just a beautiful celebration, and it's wonderful that it's across 2 rounds. So we get to see these dresses again next round as well, which is fantastic.
We'll talk about Collingwood's dress next round when they play Adelaide back at John Cain Arena. Here's Steph Wood in the Sunshine Coast dress that depicts 3 stories: creation of country, our women, and the Lightning team members. Well done, Jerome Wano. Brown looking for Garvin, but the pass is wayward. Jovic can't keep it in. Bit sloppy from the Magpies, and they can't afford to be that. Down by 3. This crowd in here willing to make some noise, Kira. Haven't seen Sunshine Coast win at home since round 1 against the Swifts.
Some really close losses that they've had to witness. One being Kira Austin shooting to break the hearts of the Sunshine Coast Lightning by a goal. So they'll be certainly sitting on the edge of their seat, just wondering what's going to happen in these last 9 minutes of this match.
Collingwood too know all about narrow losses, of course, and controversial ones. Here's Conan again. They could easily have won 3 of their first 4. They won in rounds 1 and 4, and not since. Can they do something special this afternoon?
I think the growth for these 2 clubs from the 2022 season is their ability to keep their losses to a close margin. We saw many blowouts last year for the Sunshine Coast Lightning, but to their credit this year, all their scorelines have been very competitive.
Down by 6 against the Giants, by 1 against the Vixens, by 4 against the Swifts over the last 3 weeks. Backing up your point, they've been right in those games. In the 3rd quarter today, they showed us some of their best netball, back to 2017 and 18. It was fantastic energy, precision at times, and Cara Conan rolls one over the lip. Conan now 29 of 30, so 98% shooting for Cara.
Excellent defensive work there from Ava Black. She challenged there, just wasn't able to get their body angle. But her defensive pressure on that centre pass shut down Kelsey Brown, as we know how strong she is off the centre pass.
Jovic finding Nelson. Still plenty for Collingwood to play for. What sort of legacy do they want the Magpies to have? There's this game and 3 more to come before Magpies netball is shut down. Plus there is World Cup selection in the minds of a couple. Well, 5 of them to be precise.
Great pick up there from Sophie Garvin. It was a great touch from Jodie Ann Ward.
Nelson with the big reach over Pretorius to keep the ball. And obstruction called on Irvin.
These Magpies girls are playing for contracts for the 2024 season.
That's the other element.
In what team it is, they don't know, but they need to put their best foot forward. You know, it's been a long time since, you know, players have probably had this much uncertainty in terms of the competition, and every game is an opportunity to put out your brand of netball and what it is you stand for on court. Because it's not only your performance, it's your attitude about how you perform and what you are doing to help your team that other coaches look for. So a huge opportunity for these Magpies players to put their best foot forward for the next season.
Brown to Nelson. 2 goals in it, 58-56. Technically every player off contract at the end of this season, so the Collingwood players will go into a big pool, won't they, Maddie Brown? And Kira raises a good point. They want to play for their futures.
Absolutely. I mean, every moment out there is an opportunity to show what you can do as a player. But for me, now is the time to shine for some of these Magpies and show what they can really do in these tough times. Defensively, I reckon they've got to shut down that second phase a little bit more, really pushing those Lightning players high and wide and trying to get that ball lifted. Irving comes up with another great tip. The other thing in attack, I want to put it to you, Kira, would you start to put Singleton on and maybe Garvin to goal shooter?
Yeah, I think that moving circle would give Ash Irvine something else to think about at the moment. I think she's fairly comfortable, Maddie, just sitting back there and marking Shimona. I wanted to ask you one thing. This entire situation of all players being off contract reminds me a little bit of the old school possibles and probables. How long has it been since you've played a match of possibles and probables?
Well, it's been a long time since I played a match, Kira, so it's probably even a few more years past that. But as you said, it's that uncertainty for everyone involved. So why not in this moment when someone's got to stand up, why not it be you?
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Maddie.
So Sunshine Coast here. Conan goes back to the middle third to find Black.
Centre contact.
Woods invited forward through the contacts, sets her foot, and now I thought Steph Wood was going to set her sights, but she brings her fellow Diamond into play. Shooter Cara Conan, another one to the tally at 60-57. And now Collingwood have to work out how to deal with Ashley Irvin. You played in a defensive role, Kira. I'd love to get more thoughts on this Sydney-born but Queensland pathway product, Ashley Irvin, a teenager still, making life difficult for Shimona Nelson.
Absolutely. An interesting fact about Ash Irvine, she played her junior netball at the same club as Matisse Leatherbarrow. A fantastic, testament to the quality coming out of New South Wales. Finds herself here on the Sunshine Coast and with an opportunity on court. She has really stood up in her ability to be able to read the ball and her aerial work, getting around the body of Shimona Nelson, who's sitting at the top of the Nissan Net Points match leaders. But Ash Irvine's had an impact on this game and she's been able to turn ball over for her team.
Collingwood dominate the Nissan Net Points, don't they? But it's the scoreboard where they want to finish on top. Down by 2. Sunshine Coast threatened to blow it open in the third quarter. Collingwood have fought hard to stay in it, and it is very much game on as we enter the final Suncorp super shot period. Is a super shot going to decide it? Are we going to extra time? It's close. Jovic for Nelson, and she makes it a bit closer. 1 goal the difference. So timeout called thanks to HCF. Belinda Reynolds wants to address her players because Collingwood are not going away.
Try and do is force the penalty in the 2 though. Yes. All right. Nice and strong on rebounds. Yes. Right. So we're defending this first. I want everyone still to stay one-on-one. So I want you to stay on one-on-one. One-on-one. Cover the middle of the centre pass, but isolate the wide. So you still cover the middle, but then isolate wide on that one. Okay. In the 2-point, we need to be disciplined and just get around front to help each other out, okay? Alrighty? I want intent on the defence of the shot. So I want an early arm, and I want jump, and I want blocking out for rebounds. If you can't take the rebounds cleanly, bash them out of there, alrighty? Let's go, girls. Be brave, get in the contest there. Alrighty? First one on the long court, the drive will pull, and then someone will open up on the side. Let's go! 1, 2!
This is why we love Fox Netball. 60-59. The crowd, another big one in Uni SC Arena, willing the Lightning home, but Collingwood are out to cap a miserable week with a high, with a win. And they're close enough if they're good enough. Can they be good enough in the final 4 minutes? Garvin Ward and Brazel. There are match winners across the court for both teams. But who's going to deliver? Kelsey Brown. Garvin for Nelson. Irvin almost got a piece of it again. Nelson being made to earn her catches and her goals. Maddie Brown, we're locked up at 60.
Oh, the Magpies were up and about going, you know what, we're so in this and we can shine. They know what they're capable of, and in defence they want to continue to shut down that second phase, and now we're in the 2-point zone. Overplays Steph Wood, forced that one. You can see a tight contest of Ward literally wearing Wood, pushing her out of the circle. They want to deny that 2-point. In attack for the Magpies, expect them to be patient, maybe play the ball around, take their time to get to circle edge and make sure they nail an efficient shot.
Big Petro, as he admitted to us at three-quarter time, he's a netty dad and he's a goal attack when he's played netball. That's a scary proposition for the defence.
Gosh, I absolutely would not want to come up against Petro Sivanasiva on a netball court. I can tell you that right now.
Nelson keeps the scoring run going. Tip for tat.
A really impressive start here to the fourth quarter from the Magpies. We heard Ash Brazel in the warm-up say how exhausted her players were. It could be said that they're running completely on adrenaline at the moment with the scores locked up at 61 all.
Nelson again set to go past the 100 points when it comes to missing net points. She's the leader as Conan takes the pass.
Comfortable with the ones there, the Sunshine Coast Lightning. They know the scoreboard pressure is important. It's going to take a huge defensive stop here from the Sunshine Coast Lightning as we see Ash Irvin go up and touch that ball out.
Who blinks first? Annie Miller, a nervous spectator on the Lightning bench. Jovic to Nelson, who wins the leap. Pretorius was there, hunting ball. Nelson gets it done. Charlie Bell, a nervous observer. Katie Enderhaney there as well. Conan, fed by Sherian.
Double defence on Steph Wood as she tried to enter the circle there. Ash Brazel giving up the contact as they go to that 2-point. You can see now the directions change. They're looking to find Steph in the 2-point zone.
Steph Wood for a super shot. The crowd says it's better than super.
Clutch from Steph Wood. Big physical pressure, but she went to the post, confident as the captain of the Sunshine Coast Lightning.
Now Garvin to answer that. A big exhale over the top of the ring. She'll get another go.
Hold time, need to set the penalty. It's here. Yeah.
So Garvin
outside.
All players on deck here, forcing the player out.
gets a do-over. Sophie Garvin leaves this one short. The rebound to Irvin. Into the final minute we go. The Lightning by 2.
Irvin protected that rebound space so well there as we see Ash Brazel give up the contact.
It's with the wing defence.
Only Irvin's 8th National League game. Now Cara Conan to make it 3. That little bit of breathing space. Sherian to Pretorius.
Here's where the tempo game comes into play. How smart and how much of the Lightning learnt from their last close matches.
Black, another 19-year-old. Irvin and Black, dynamic in this game.
Just need to drain the clock here, control the ball.
That's what they're doing. Look at all the passing.
You see Sherian there, very experienced. Telling her players to get on the edge of that transverse line for the reset.
Wood to Conan as the seconds tick away. The Sunshine Coast Lightning are home. The crowd stands and applauds the Lightning winners 66-62. They did it in the third quarter, a period they won 20-10. The final quarter, 13 all. Collingwood applied the pressure, but the Lightning didn't wilt. Nicole Richardson, what a week for her, knowing that her club is going to be wound down. Her players gave her so much pride in the first half. They couldn't maintain the rage, and they finish with a 7th straight defeat. Lightning 66, Magpies 62. The emotions almost bubbling over for Nicole Richardson.
Fucking fought hard, and always like Collingwood and Lightning have had a really good game against each other. So not just respect you, but your crowd as well. So it's been unreal.
Lightning, appreciation for Magpies. Hip. Right. Appreciation of 3, 1, 2, 3. Yes. Thanks, guys.
Nice words from a couple of Magpies leaders, and there are the tears. Nicole Richardson, 3 games to go as Magpies coach. She would have loved a win this afternoon, and she very nearly had it. So much energy has gone into her team this week to lift her players, to deal with a lot of problems and to have them in the best position possible to play this evening. She did that. The only thing missing was the finish she was after, as we go down to Maddie Brown alongside Steph Wood.
I'm here with the Nissan Player of the Match, Steph Wood. Let's just go into that huddle. There was a lot of motion. Can you tell us what was spoken and how it's made you feel?
Oh, look, for them, I can't imagine the week that they've had. And for them to turn out and play the way that they did, I think is a massive credit to the character of the team. And it's a pretty crappy position for them to be in, and to finish, last time we played them, it is quite emotional, and Braz said it, we've always had some really epic games up against Collingwood Magpies, and yeah, I'd like to thank the crowd too for the appreciation they've given to the Magpies, because they definitely deserve it.
It's been a hard week for everyone. This crowd has been amazing, obviously clapping them out when they've come out. But talk about your team performance today. A slow start, but came through in that third quarter absolutely firing. What was said at halftime?
Do your job, pretty much. No, look, we've had an up and down year. We haven't been able to put 60 minutes together, but I think the massive difference between last year and this year is we keep fighting. No matter what we're down, we try and claw that deficit back, and we did that today, and I'm really proud of what the girls were able to do.
It was a similar result to the Vixens game, but you obviously got the job over. Did any kind of fear come back into your head going, what are we going to do in this moment? Can we stand tall and win?
No, we were cool, calm and collected. I was not yelling at the end, so I apologise to the people I was yelling at.
And you're on the road for the next couple of games. You've got some big, heavy hitters in the top 4 to come up against, and then one final game here. What are you hoping to achieve as a team finishing off this 2023 season?
We want to mess up that top 4. Unfortunately, can't be in it, but you can always impact how those finals are played, and we want to finish on a high. We want to be the team at the end of the year that people would have are glad that aren't in finals. So that's our big thing, and we get to spend a week over in Bee's hometown. She'll get to show us around, so it'll be good.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Steph. An exceptional game by you and your team today, and congratulations on getting the W.
Thanks.
Well, the Sunshine Coast Lightning were down by 7 at halftime. Kira Tromp, they managed to win by 4 at full time in what I can only describe as 60 minutes. That was a game of 2 halves, cliche aside. Where did it work for the Sunshine Coast Lightning?
Look, they were able to go away at half-time and adjust their game plan, and I thought when they came out for the second half, the intensity of their defensive work really was able to create turnover for their attacking end. And tonight, I think Cara Conan and Steph Wood really stepped up under a very physical Magpies team.
Collingwood began the match so well, didn't they? They dominated the first 30 minutes, and Collingwood fans thought, you know what, after the last fortnight, perhaps this is the game that will springboard them to finishing the season strongly, but they seem to just run out of puff.
Yeah, look, I think the adrenaline was getting them through the start of the game. We heard Ash Brazel say that they were exhausted after the tumultuous couple of weeks that they've had, but it probably is the best, Hannah, we've seen the Collingwood team play. All 7 players on court were really executed under pressure.
Coming up next on Fox Netball, we head to South Australia, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. They're preparing to take on a hot West Coast Fever in a top 4 battle. Thank you so much for joining us as we say goodbye from USC Stadium, where the Sunshine Coast Lightning have beaten the Collingwood Magpies 66-62.